안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Ponsoa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-trends, K-heritage, K-everything. And we're going to do all of that with our co-host Walter Lee in the studio. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and hello to everyone at home. I'm Walter Lee. I have the latest in K-Enter news just for you, so stick around.
Walter, yesterday you provided us with quite the amount of news on male K-Enter stars, but today it's almost everything about girl power.
Yes, indeed. So who runs the world, or at least the K-Enter section today? Girls. I have news on one of my favorite singers and more. So, yes.
All right. So let's kick off with the first story of K-Enter News today, Walter. And it's about none other than Arirang and a big achievement that probably I and you have contributed to.
That's correct, indeed. So it seems like every week, the Korean singer, songwriter, actress, and I guess now we can call her a megastar YouTuber, Hallyu, has something to celebrate. Now, this time she can celebrate that she has reached 10 million subscribers on the video sharing platform. Now, on Sunday, Hallyu shared a video capturing the moment that she reached the diamond-studded milestone via her social media. Now, YouTubers who reach this milestone get a diamond YouTube button, which is the second highest achievement as a creator on the platform. The highest one is actually a red diamond kind of platform. Now, at the moment, she hit 10 million subscribers. Hallyu said to her audience, "I've become a YouTuber with the diamond button," and added, "I'll work hard to become a 10 million subscriber YouTuber who creates even more fun content." So it looks like she's going to be keeping busy, not just singing, but also doing YouTube stuff. Now, Hallyu launched her official YouTube channel in February of 2017 and reached 10 million subscribers in around 8 years and 2 months.
Well, I am a proud subscriber. Congratulations to Hallyu on that milestone. And now, from 10 million, we're now going to move on to a girl group that desires to become a whole 100 with their fans.
Yes, but they have more than 100 fans.
Of course.
So today, do you think you can pull off a perfect crime, Soa?
Oh, maybe not on air.
Not on air, of course, no. But, well, 50-50 think they can. So K-pop girl group 50-50, who debuted in 2022, released their new digital single and lyric video on YouTube called Perfect Crime on Monday. Now, Perfect Crime is a synth-based track with a emotional and atmospheric sort of vibe. So 50-50 previously made headlines back in 2023 with their hit song Cupid, which stayed on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart for 25 consecutive weeks. Now, last year, they successfully completed their first US tour. Now, for those who don't know, 50-50 did have a rocky start to their career. They debuted as a 4-member group in November 2022 following a dispute with their agency. Their members left, leaving only one, which is Kina. In September 2024, 50-50 resumed their activities as a 5-member group, combining Kina with 4 other new members. So let's hope from here onwards the group stays strong, continues to delight their fans, and continues to bring out great songs.
Well, Perfect Crime is perfectly catchy. I listened to it before the show, but I still have Cupid in my head.
Yes.
So even with a member change, let's do hope that the vibe of Cupid and 50-50 in the past will maybe stay similar so that the fans will keep listening.
I'm sure they will.
They will, of course. And now, last but not least, turning to K-dramas now, Walter, and this is a drama that you have been eagerly waiting for it to come out.
I have been really eagerly awaiting. Well, it's been out for a while, but yes, as a big Park Eun-bin fan, I was looking forward to this next big role that she was absolutely dying to be in. She was talking about it so much. It was on Disney+. I'm talking about Hyperknife. Now, Hyperknife has been one of the biggest medical thriller dramas around at the moment, where now Park Eun-bin plays Seok, once promising genius doctor and her former mentor, Dok-hee, who was responsible for her downfall. So just like her last legal drama, Extraordinary Attorney Woo, it seems to have caught the eye of the international audience, which is obviously great for Korean dramas. So for example, major international outlets like Forbes have been showing outstanding reviews and giving a lot of praise for this drama. For her Forbes interview, Park said, taking on a new role is always something that makes my heart race, adding, as an actor, I feel truly blessed to be able to explore such a wide range of characters. Now, Disney Plus' first original medical thriller, Hyperknife, is set to release its final episode on April 9th. That's tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much, Walter, for those K-Enter news, especially on the girl power out there. And stick around.
Will do.
And now it's time to go over to our AI anchor, Adi, for other culture-related news. Adi, take it away.
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. How about getting a glimpse of Korean royal culture as you stroll through the palaces on a beautiful spring day? The 2025 Spring K-Royal Culture Festival will be held from April 26th to May 4th across Seoul's 5 major palaces: Gyeongbokgung, Changdeokgung, Deoksugung, Changgyeonggung, and Gyeongigung, as well as Chungmyo Shrine. Gyeongbokgung offers immersive experiences, from exploring the legacy of King Sejong and making traditional sweets, to evening music concerts and royal court dance lessons. At Changdeokgung, visitors can enjoy tranquil forest walks and hanbok photo sessions, while Gyeongigung opens its gates for rare nighttime tours. Reservations for key events are available via ticket link. For the first time in 25 years, the National Gugak Center will showcase Chungmyo Daereak in Japan. Chungmyo Daereak is a Joseon-era royal ceremonial performance combining music and dance. Presented during ancestral rites at Chungmyo Shrine to honor the late kings and queens. The performance will be held on April 19th at Bungyo Civic Hall in Tokyo as part of a cultural exchange marking the 60th anniversary of normalizing Seoul-Tokyo ties. In return, Japan will showcase Kumi Odori, a traditional musical drama from Okinawa this June in Korea, highlighting each nation's UNESCO-listed cultural heritage. The Gugak Center earned wide acclaim for its Chungmyo Daereak performance in Singapore last week and is set to bring the royal ritual music to audiences in Hong Kong this November. The Kansong Art Museum will open a rare exhibition tomorrow, showcasing Joseon-era paintings and calligraphy rendered on fans. Titled Seonu Pungol, which translates to good friends, wind, and moon. The exhibition features 55 fan artworks carefully curated from the museum's collection. Among them, over 20 pieces will be unveiled to the public for the first time. Highlights include exquisite fan paintings and calligraphy by renowned late Joseon figures such as Chusa Kim Jong-il and Danon Kim Hong-do. The exhibition, the first to be held by the Kansong Art Museum in half a century, runs through May 25th. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
The Culture Ministry has released its annual Global Hallyu survey, revealing the most popular aspects of Korean culture captivating fans around the world. While the global reach of Hallyu, or the Korean wave, continues to grow, the survey also points to a rise in negative perceptions. Our Han Da-eun brings us the highlights.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Korea? The Culture Ministry and the Korean Foundation for International Cultural Exchange posed that very question to some 26,400 people across 28 countries who have experienced Korean culture. According to survey results released on Monday, K-pop came out on top, with nearly 18% of respondents naming Korean pop music as the strongest image associated with Korea. It marks the 8th consecutive year that K-pop has been reaffirmed as the country's defining cultural icon. Korean cuisine followed in second place, trailed by K-dramas, beauty products, and Korean films, rounding out the top 5. Among the many K-pop acts that have captivated global audiences, BTS continues to lead the pack. The 7-member global sensation retained its crown as the world's most beloved K-pop group for the 7th straight year, with over 24% of respondents naming the group as their top pick. Following closely were the Pretty Savages, Blackpink, and versatile singer-songwriter IU. In the realm of K-dramas, Netflix hit Squid Game was the most preferred series, while Queen of Tears and Crash Landing on You ranked 2nd and 3rd, respectively. On the K-cinema front, Bong Joon-ho's Oscar-winning masterpiece Parasite topped the list, with the gripping zombie action film Train to Busan and the occult thriller Exuma close behind. Global favorability toward Hallyu content rose to over 70%, up 1.5 percentage points from a year ago, led by strong support in Southeast Asia. But the growing global influence of K-culture has also brought a rise in negative perceptions. Those with unfavorable views of Hallyu climbed to 37.5%, the highest in the past 5 years, with many citing it as overly commercialized. Based on the survey findings, the Culture Ministry aims to further enhance global outreach by hosting large-scale Hallyu expos and expanding K-culture promotion centers worldwide, riding the unrelenting wave of global interest in Korean culture. 한다은, Arirang News.
Riding the unrelenting wave of global interest in Korean culture. Isn't that what we are doing, Walter?
Yes, there's no doubt that the culture wave seems to be, quenching the thirst of Korean K-wave lovers. But so, did anything surprise you about the Hallyu survey?
Well, I wasn't really that surprised about the #1 category that global fans of K-culture are interested in, which is K-pop. But I did find it interesting that K-food was ranking 2nd, even ahead of K-dramas.
Yeah, but I do think it is actually K-pop and K-dramas that are helping K-food reach that pinnacle because, K-pop idols, they eat K-food, and K-dramas, they eat anything, and then people, they also want to eat it as well.
Just like Park Eun-bin eating kimbap in Attorney Woo, as you mentioned before.
And then I was on a kimbap rage after that, eating kimbap time after time. I couldn't stop eating it.
All right, well, let's see how much the Hallyu wave is going to expand, and we're also going to do our efforts in, trying to show different aspects of the Korean culture to our viewers. And stick around, Walter, because we're actually going to talk about another aspect of K-culture coming up next.
Okay.
Recently, we reported on the damage to national heritage sites in South Korea caused by the worst wildfires in the country on record. In late March, there was a huge fire in Uiseong-gun County in Gyeongsangbuk-do Province, and fires spread to as far as Gyeongsangnam-do Province and Ulsan. Another fire broke out just this week in the southern county of Hadong, which has now been mostly contained as of this Tuesday. Today, we want to take a deeper look into the value and importance of Korea's cultural heritages and the need to protect them. For that, we're joined online by David Tizard, Professor of Korean Studies at Seoul Women's University and Hanyang University. Hello, Professor Tizard.
Hello, Professor.
Hello, guys. Great to see you again. Thank you for having me back.
Great to see you. Now, Professor Tizard, the massive wildfires in the southern part of South Korea have destroyed or damaged numerous cultural heritage sites. Now, as a scholar of Korean studies, how did you feel when you heard about the destruction of these heritage sites?
Obviously, like many other people around the country and outside of Korea as well, I felt a very deep, profound sense of despair, of sadness that these things were disappearing before our eyes. And alongside that, there was also that feeling of helplessness that we knew it was happening. We could see these historical sites disappearing, and yet there was very little that we could do about it as we were faced with this destruction. And as this was playing out, I had that sense that we do spend a lot of time talking about whether Cat's Eye counts as K-pop, whether Mickey 17 is actually any good or not, and, you know, does Uyong-u make us want to eat gimbap? All very relevant questions. But when we saw this taking place, it made me realize that there are very strong, important foundations upon which the current Hallyu success sits. And sometimes we might not only forget those foundations, but perhaps more importantly, we might forget the messages and the wisdom that those foundations were meant to provide to us.
Yes, I mean, this year has not been very good with, obviously, wildfires. The LA wildfires as well was something that very many people were concerned about. The recent incident was so big that it has probably also hit ordinary people here in Korea, you know, tourists alike. You have many students from overseas, many Hallyu fans. Were there any comments or concerns maybe from some of your students?
No, of course there were, and they were a little bit scared, and they were hesitant, and they wanted to know more, and they wanted to learn that Arbor Day used to be a national holiday. We used to go out into the countryside and plant trees in South Korea to try to reforest the country. That stopped in the early 21st century. But what was somewhat saddening to me was how quickly these forest fires and the destruction of the heritage sites was replaced in the consciousness of not just international students, but many people in the country, because we've had the whole political impeachment scandal that's been by necessity drawn out, and it's been a very thorough process, and we can say that that's successfully concluded. But it feels like this story, it raged for a day or two in our consciousness and then disappeared from many news sites, and that was for me quite sad, because it didn't disappear from the locations themselves. And while the public consciousness may have moved on, the actual devastation will take far longer for people to come to terms with in and around those areas in which they live.
And also, Professor Trizard, one thing that was especially shocking was that some places like the historic Goonsa temple were completely burnt down, while maybe others, fortunately, were spared from the flames. So could you introduce us maybe to some of the significant places?
There are many significant places, and I think what's most interesting for me is that Buddhism was the state religion of South Korea for approximately 1,000 years. We forget that this is sometimes a homogenous, ethnically homogenous nation, so it has lots of people that all are very similar ethnically, but it's multi-religious. So in Korea's history, we have shamanism, Taoism, Buddhism, Confucianism, Christianity, all existing on top of each other. And the people that come to modern South Korea, when they spend their time in Myeongdong and Apgujeong, Gangnam, they might not see any hints of the Buddhism that had such a profound impact on this country. And there's a reason for that, because most of the important temples are found in the South Korean countryside. They're nestled amongst the valleys. The reason is when the Joseon dynasty became the ruling state of the Korean peninsula in 1392, Confucianism became the state ideology. And in 1392, the Confucians said to all the Buddhists, either put on some clothes and do some work, or get out of the capital city, which was not then Seoul, but called Hanyang. And so many of the Buddhist monks in the temples, they were forced to leave the capital city to go out into the countrysides and exist there where they did. And for 500 years, essentially, there weren't really any Buddhist monks in the capital. So they're all out in the countryside, which is kind of beautiful for Buddhism, because it puts you around in nature. And the temples themselves are very much nestled in part of nature. You can be very close, but not even see them. However, that means the temples there, they're very much at the whim of nature, and that's why this destruction has happened, and that's why many people coming to Korea might not realize the importance of Buddhism, and that's why they were so sort of devastated by this natural incident.
Professor, I do want to stay on the topic of Buddhism, because a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Busoksa Temple, was also threatened by the wildfires. Now, what importance do Korea Buddhist monuments hold to world history and global Buddhist culture, do you think?
Yeah, this is really important, because as South Korea is growing, it's looking at its heritage, it's looking what unique elements. Now, I was raised in largely Christian countries in the south of England and Australia, and it was only coming to South Korea and learning about East Asian culture, East Asian folklore and tales, that I realized that in East Asia, there's not a concept, for example, of Satan or the devil or a personification of evil like Mephistopheles or Beelzebub. The tradition and cultures here are so very different. And I think that's one of the really unique aspects of Korea and something that it can try to share with the world. Now, Buddhism itself, of course, comes from Nepal, northern India. Prince Siddhartha achieved enlightenment by sitting under a tree. And then that sort of Mahayana version of Buddhism came up through China and down into the Korean peninsula. It's very different from the Buddhism that we find in Southeast Asia, which is Theravadan Buddhism. To say one thing about Buddhism that I find so amazing, if you go to a temple here in South Korea, a Buddhist temple, you will often see 3 big gold Buddhas sat side by side. And what they represent is the Buddha of the past, the Buddha of the present, and the Buddha of the future. Now, the Buddha of the present, that's Prince Siddhartha from Nepal, and he tried to tell us, don't be too attached to anything. Don't let desire draw your life, because that will lead to suffering. However, as good as that was, we still do have painful things in the world. And so Korean Buddhists, like many other Buddhists, they're waiting for the Buddha of the future. They're waiting for somebody, one of us, to open our eyes and realize, this is what we're doing wrong, guys. This is what we need to change. And these lessons, they won't come from the clouds or the heavens above, but it will be one of us that says, I've got it. And so the temples around Korea, the Buddhist temples, they're all operating in the hope that it will be one of their people sat there meditating, going away from the perils of life and realize, this is what we need to do to make our lives better. It's this thing. And so quite profoundly, Buddhism is not complete yet. And who will complete it? One of us.
One of us. Wow, that was so interesting, Professor Tizard, really going even deep into Buddhism as a whole. But I found it also a very good point that you mentioned that people who come to Korea, many of them tourists, for instance, go to the capital, Seoul, and most of the population does live in the metropolitan area. So I believe it is very difficult to actually be aware of that Korean culture is, a lot of it is based on Buddhism. And because we have those temples in the countryside, many of them, this is why maybe it doesn't hit us that much when we see any of the cultural heritage damages. So I do believe it is really important to, think of this one more time, even the deep meaning behind Buddhism and Korea's culture. And I want to ask you a final question, Professor Tizard. What efforts do you think can be made to protect cultural heritage or just, raise the awareness?
Well, I think so. Conversations like this are very important because now we've said amongst the K-pop, the K-food and the K-dramas, we've said the word Buddhism and that helps. And we could be saying the word shamanism or Taoism or Confucianism, anything else. So consciousness helps. And for those out there that are more interested, I'm not an expert on cultural preservation, but I would say for anyone interested, you can go and watch Shinga 함께, along with the gods, that based on a webtoon features some really nice Buddhist elements. My Mister with IU, I heard you talking about her recent success on YouTube. That has a really nice Buddhist storyline involved in it. It's not the main thing. And then, of course, U to the Young to the U, Extraordinary Attorney U. That Buddhism is a recurring theme in that drama as well. So now we've talked about it, people might start seeing it just a little bit more in those K-drama contents, and hopefully the next time, this will help preserve culture in our memory and in our modern lives.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Tizard, for your insights today and also the recommendations that you just made. I mean, it's unfortunate that we had to deal with this topic with the country having been affected by the wildfires, but it was an opportunity to shed light on the deep meaning of these historic sites as well as the religious and cultural aspects that you touched upon today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you for letting me speak. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. And thank you, Walter. Have a great day yourself, and we'll see you again very soon.
See you very soon.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Please join us again tomorrow on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day here in Korea.
How to survive in Korea. Barbecue restaurants. Step 1. Taking care of your clothes. Put your